Boys, I honestly just love this time of year. Just thinking about family, food, and everything that I'm honestly just thankful for. And especially when it comes to this channel. Once again, we're not the biggest channel, but I just appreciate everything that I have. And, I think that's important to think about as we come up here to Thanksgiving here tomorrow. I just want you all to sit back and say, what am I thankful for this season? Anyways, boys, my name is Hunter, and welcome back to Life Advice with Hunter, Week 9. Anyways, before we get started, I just want to say that I hope that you are having a wonderful holiday and that I hope that you're having time away from work and stress and whatever's bugging you in your life. You're just enjoying time with the family. I can tell you right now, by the time that you're probably watching this, I am probably sitting down feasting on some mashed potatoes and gravy. Anyways, without further ado, boys, I want to get right into this video. But before we do that, I would also just like to remind everybody to hit that subscribe button and press that like button. It lets us know that you guys are enjoying the content, and it lets us know that we should keep making this content. We've been working really hard over here on Point C, and we would love to have you join the family. Anyways, boys, let's get right into the life advice. Today, we're going to be talking about taking ownership of your life. So, we kind of been working towards this topic the last few weeks with depression, anxiety, stress relievers, all those amazing things. However, today we're going to be kind of combining that all together to start talking about how to take control of your life. First of all, what does it mean to have control over your life? It means that you create your own destiny. All of us create our own destiny every single day of our life, no matter how you want to look at it. You are your own person, and you are always going to be the person that is in charge of your own life. Nobody has the power over your life to say this is how you are going to live your life. You are your own person living in America, in a free country, assuming that you're watching this video, meaning that you have the opportunity to make your own life and to make your own decisions. And that's good and bad at the same time. It's great because you are able to form your own life, be your own person. However, the bad part is that your mom or your dad is not always going to be there to tell you what you should or should not be doing. So we need to be able to take ownership of that. And that comes with responsibility, good things, bad things, all that great stuff. We're going to be talking about how to take ownership, all that great stuff. First off, how do you take ownership of your life? It's first of all pushing away those things that almost make you feel sort of controlled and safe in not necessarily a bad way, but sometimes in a good way as well. For example, maybe a parent that coddles you, or maybe a relationship that feels more codependent rather than a relationship that is building towards a better life, right? That can be friends, that can be family, that can be your partner, whatever it may be. But what is important is that you need to first push that stuff away that is going to be weighing you down when it comes to becoming your own person and finding that own freedom. So once you find that freedom, you need to understand that once you have this freedom, it is a freedom, it is a tool, it is a benefit. However, what you need to know is that every responsibility at that point, most responsibilities, most decisions are going to be placed onto yourself. What I mean by that is, for example, your physical health is a big one that we're going to be talking about a little bit. Nobody is going to be there to hold you accountable. It is time to take control of your own life. And that is a good and a bad thing. We're going to be talking about free will here in just a minute, but you are in charge of all those things. You are in charge of what you're going to be eating. You are in charge of all these things. You see how a lot of these things kind of relate to adulting? That's kind of what adulting is. Adulting is sort of taking control over your own life and deciding this is how I want my life to look and this is what my life is going to be. But just like when you sort of get into that adult space and you're making your own decisions, it is super important to sort of understand that you are in charge and you are going to make mistakes. You are going to make decisions that may not be the best for you, but it's important to understand that you made those decisions. Whether if you decided to spend all your money in one night, that was your decision. Whatever decision you are making, that is all up to you. You're an adult now. We are talking about basically defining your own free will. However, those also amazing things about free will are still true. For example, you are able to make your own decisions. You are able to be your own person. You are your own man. And that is great in so many different ways. You are able to decide what you want to do with your life. What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your family life to look like? All those amazing things are decided by you. You as your own independent person. And that's what we're working towards here in the end goal, right? That's kind of what this whole series is about, is trying to prepare you for that change in life, trying to prepare you for these certain scenarios. That's really what I'm trying to get down to here, man. It's like, you can say, I want my freedom, I want all these amazing things, but you also need to understand that that comes with some consequences, you know? Somebody's not always going to be there to push you, but I want you to take control over your own life. Nobody should be holding you back or controlling you in any sort of form of the word. I want you to be your own independent person, and that's what you want to be. That's what everybody wants to be deep down. Nobody wants to be controlled. Nobody wants to be told what to do by the big man. Nobody wants that, and that's what we're working towards here. And one of the best things about being your own person and being independent and sort of having your own free will is that you are actually able to basically make decisions on your life in general, right? We already talked about food and physical health, all that great stuff. But you're also able to choose your own career. And, you know, for a lot of you, this is going to be tough. And it was tough for me to decide what I wanted to go into. I may not talk too much about this because that could be its own video on its own about how to choose a career and all that great stuff. However, what is important is what I'm going to tell you is that you need to weigh out some options. You need to decide, okay, why do I want to go into one of these careers? For example, for me, it was journalism, video editing, and also counseling. Those were the three that I really kind of sat on and decided which one do I like the most. Journalism was something that I just absolutely loved since I was a young kid. I've always sort of enjoyed writing. I've always sort of enjoyed the news. Video editing for obvious reasons, but then I was like, you know what? Maybe that's not the best decision for me. And then counseling, because that is a lot of school and also it is a draining career, so I ended up going against it. If you notice there, we sort of made a very small pro-cons list. I'm going to dive deep into that maybe next week, but the thing is that once you create that sort of pro-cons list, you then need to decide other factors, for example, money, right? Now, so many people in this world are going to tell you, guess what? It doesn't matter about the pay. It's more about if you're having fun. Man, I'm going to tell you, fuck that, right? I, at the end of the day, think that money is a driving factor for a lot of people when it comes to a career. Many employers are going to be like, well, I don't want that. You know, they want somebody that's there because they're passionate, not about the pay. And you know what? From that perspective, I guess I get it. But also at the same time, man, look, we all got to eat. We all got to survive, especially right now with the cost of strawberries. It's absurd. And let me just say that don't let people discourage you and go into a career, for example, art history or something that you can't get a job in because you decided I am in love with art history and I'm in love with art. That's great, man. Is it paying the bills? Which is sort of where that free will comes back in. You know, you made that decision. Nobody is going to hold your hand and walk you through this after you made that mistake. Not necessarily a mistake, because there are plenty of successful people in the art history field, but it's a very competitive and tough industry to get into, you know, compared to something like a hard-hitting degree like we talked about in the college video. See how this is all coming back, guys? It's all starting to circle together. And guess what? We're only 9 weeks in. But also what is important is that you want to maintain that sort of independency. You know, you don't want to let people take back that control that you have taken over your life for whatever reason that they may want to take it, whether if they're jealous of you or simply they're competing with you, whatever it may be. You're not going to let people take that. That's not the goal here. The goal here is that we have created our own space and we have decided this is the life that I want to live, and I have decided that I'm going to be independent. That's what you want overall in your life. If that's what we're going for here, we are going to keep it. Somebody is not going to come along and take it from us. We are going to strive to do better, and that we are always going to be growing when it comes to being independent, whether if that's financially speaking, you know, just our decision making, whatever it may be. That's what we're overall going for here. We want to be able to say, you know what, I'm not relying on anybody, I'm my own person, and that's how I want to live. Because let me tell you, man, you really are not going to be a big fan of your life if you are simply living somebody else's life and they are sort of controlling over your own life. That's not what is beneficial for you. That's not a positive way to live. And overall, it's just a negative way to live and a negative way to move through life. It's a way of life that you're really not going to enjoy in the end. By the end, you're going to be drained. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be feeling really overwhelmed, right? Because at the end of the day, you have not made these decisions for yourself. Somebody else has made those decisions for you. It's similar to the idea of when you get that sort of dopamine response that we sort of have been talking about when it comes to like filling up your motivation and your drive. A lot of this is going to be motivation filled. And I get it, like when you're starting out college or whatever, you may absolutely hate the independency, and I understand it, man. You've just spent the last 18 years living under somebody else's roof, including myself, right? But guess what, man? It's going to feel amazing, and and it's going to be tough at first, but there are going to be plenty of people to help you out, but we are also going to learn to be independent in that own process there. Also, while we're talking about it, I just want to mention that also, just because I said that you have to be independent does not mean that you are not allowed to ask for help. You are always going to need some form of help in your life. There are going to be times where maybe just things are hard mentally, things are hurting physically, whatever it may be. Do not be afraid to reach out to those previously mentioned support groups, right? It's important to sort of find that balance where you're able to have that independency, but you are still asking for help, especially when you need it, man. Because let me tell you, a lot of the times in your life, people aren't simply just going to reach out and ask you, hey man, do you need help with this thing? Now, there are a few circumstances where that may happen if you had like a super invasive surgery or you're going through something very mentally draining that people are aware of. People aren't always going to reach out, and sometimes you're going to need to reach out to those support groups and let them know, hey man, I may need some help right now. And explaining to them why you need some help is also very important so that they know how to overall help you. Along with it just being overall important to understand that everybody needs help from time to time. I ask for help all the time, whether if that's an editing project or whatever it may be. We can't always be perfect, and not every single moment in our life is going to be this amazing thing. Life is an up and down roller coaster, and unfortunately, there are going to be some rough patches. But once again, we are taking control of our life, and just like taking control of our life, we are going to take control of this roller coaster, and we are going to make it as smooth as possible. Whether if that comes to financial goals, mental goals, whatever it may be, physical goals, whatever it is that we are working towards, we are going to take the controls of the roller coaster and we are going to ensure that we are going on a smooth, steady path throughout these next couple months, and that we are going to eventually keep working towards those independency goals that we are making today. And let me just mention, man, that when you have that independency, it can feel absolutely amazing. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel quite a few different ways. But what is important here is that overall you should be feeling good. Now, if you're not, we should be looking at your plan and figuring out, why are we not feeling super amazing? Is it something going on in our personal life? Is it just the way that we're budgeting? What is it that we are dealing with that we need to work on? And we can talk about some of those things. First of all, super important that you stop and look and figure out, okay, what am I dealing with that is making me feel like I'm going off course from my independency plan? Once we figure out that thing, we then need to figure out a strategy how to fix that thing. Whether that could be talking with people, that could also be just relearning the strategies, or also just making sure that we are following the strategies that we set in place. And those strategies can be so many different things, man. It could be simply sleeping a little longer at night. It could simply be creating a sort of budget in our phone. It could be all these small things that can add up really quickly to sort of create the perfect balance of where we feel independent, but we still feel at ease with everything that's going on in our life, and we are able to get simple tasks done. Because we don't want to drain you from doing these tasks, because if we do that, then we failed. We're not feeling independent at that point. We're starting to feel like a burden on ourselves if we're not able to work towards those overall goals that we have continued and will continue to set and crush for our. And you know what, man? It is basically the perfect time to start working on some of these things, because we are about to move into the holiday season. It's currently Thanksgiving this week, along with it about to be Christmas already. It is crazy to think that it is already almost 2024, which is where these sort of goals can come in. Let's work on some of those goals in 2024. Let's first of all write them down like we talked about a few weeks ago about setting goals. Let's first of all set those goals for 2024. We are going to write them down on a piece of paper. We are going to work through them every single day. We are going to look at them every single day. We are not going to make this a year where we sit back, relax, and don't do anything about our issues, or simply ignore them and push them away. No, we are going to work through them, and we are going to kill them and crush them this year. And that can be in a variety of categories. Like I said, fitness right off the bat. We can set that goal and we can sort of work towards that independency that we want with ourselves, with our bodies, with our life, whatever we are working towards this year. I want you to first of all write that down and make sure that we are constantly working towards it in some facet. Now, obviously not every second of the day you're going to be able to work on it, but rather that we always have something that we're able to work for in the back of our mind. That is super important this season, man. It has been a crazy year for everybody. It feels like the first year that actually feels not affected by COVID in some stretch of the imagination. And guess what, man? 2024 is going to be the year where we are going to be trying to bounce back. Whether if we, failed some goals during the pandemic or whatever it may be, it is time to work towards those goals again, man. Let's stop making excuses. Let's get up and let's tackle some of those goals starting in 2024. Anyways, boys, this has been Life Advice with Hunter, week 9. I first of all just want to say thank you all so much again for watching. I appreciate it. If you stuck to the end of the video, you might as well hit that subscribe button. It is completely free and it makes sure that you won't miss out on a single video that we post. Also, don't be afraid to hit that like button. That helps other people see it here on the platform. Along with it just helps us let us know that, hey, you guys are enjoying the content and that you want to see more of this content moving forward. Anyways, boys, I just once again want to say thank you all so much for the amazing support on these videos. It means a lot to me. And I also just want to remind everybody to have a wonderful holiday. I hope that you stay safe, stay healthy, and make sure that you eat plenty of mashed potatoes and gravy. Peace.